So have you been only experimenting with visualization technique? Or have you had some success, but at some times you feel like, okay, I did so much of visualization, or I did a certain technique maybe in a conversation, and I've only gotten this far, or I've gotten mixed results. Sometimes I got the results, sometimes I didn't get the results. In this video, I will explain why in some cases we get the results, and why in some cases it feels like it's taking longer, or maybe it is not the way we want it to be. My name is Rohit, and I've been studying about law of attraction manifestation for years now, and my goal with this channel is to simplify manifesting so they can manifest dream house, dream life, perfect health, whatever they desire with the power of their imagination. So this is a common theme which I've seen over and over again, and a lot of people get caught up in this thing, whether they get caught up in just one technique, that all they want to do is visualization, all they want to do is revision, all they want to do is maybe in a conversation or something. In my personal experience, yes, I've had a lot of success with just visualization, but there's another story I would like to share, and other people have also mentioned that I've never been very good with inner conversations, but I've done it, and at times I've gotten success. But before I move on to that, I want to share a story which comes from Gay Hendricks. If you haven't read his book, there's a book called The Beagle Leap by Gay Hendricks. But in one of his interviews, I heard him say this thing, right? So at a point he was doing his PhD, and his wife was also doing their master's or PhD, and they were really low on money. So every time they would come home, and they had like a exercise room where they would cycle or do something, they had some exercise equipment, and they would always have this conversation, oh, we have so much debt, how are we going to pay the bills, how are we going to do this, oh no, we have to plan, maybe how are we going to buy a house. So they had all these inner conversations with each other in real time, which implied that they don't have the money. And at that situation in their life, at that point of time, they did not have the money, but they kept implying that. So now what is the problem? What is the good and the bad about this thing? So one of the biggest problems with this is this, right? So they were having this inner conversation, and that kept their reality in place. So they kept having these conversations where they don't have enough money. How are they going to pay the bills? How are they going to pay the mortgage? How are they going to do this? And that just kept in his reality. And somewhere Gay Hendricks read that just by changing your inner conversations, or by your mental dialogue you have with yourself or with others, you will be able to change your reality. So just for a fun experiment, he just started out as an experiment. He told his wife that instead of having, we always have these negative conversations, instead we would have a conversation as if all our debts are paid off, as if we are easily able to pay mortgages, we have enough money, we have all these things. So he went and he created this scene in his imagination for sure first, and then when he would, let's say they're on treadmill or they're on some machine, and they would talk together and they say, wow, it's wonderful that we have more than enough money left after paying all of the bills. Wow, we are easily able to afford mortgage. Isn't it great that, I don't have to work extra hours for this extra money? Isn't it great that now our incomes have increased? Some conversations like that. I don't know the exact details, but something along the lines, he had these conversations where he had abundance, he had a lot of money, he didn't have to go out and struggle. They both were making money, they were able to pay the mortgages, the bills, and they had money left over. So they had these inner conversations for a while. He did it with his wife for a while, and they played with it for a while. And I think eventually his wife was not so keen on it. She kind of dropped on and off. She didn't do it as regularly, but he kept doing it on a regular basis. He would be on his cycling machine or in his treadmill, and he would say, wow, it's great that we have more than money left over after paying all of our bills. Wow, it's great that we are easily able to afford mortgage. And these conversations like that, right? I think he did it for a while. I'm not sure how long he did it. Maybe he did it 2-3 months, maybe more. And eventually things started changing in his life. He got a better offer from another company, I think, to be a professor. He got pay increase. They got some kind of projects or something. Somehow things started showing up in his life where he started making more money, and in an easier fashion. Now he's making more money in a more easier fashion, and because he's making so much money in an easier fashion, he's able to do a lot more, charge a lot more, and get a lot of stuff done with this. So he kept going with it. He kept doing that. Now there comes a point where a lot of people would be say, if you're constantly in this inner conversation, maybe we should drop it, or maybe we should continue with this inner conversation. In my personal experience, I always drop all the imaginal acts, whether it's inner conversation, imagination, visualization, revision, whatever technique I use. Once it's impressed on my subconscious mind, I drop it. I don't hold on to it, because I've seen when I held on to it, when I was really obsessed with it, it took forever for it to come to fruition, or it just didn't come. Eventually, when I gave up on that, like, I've learned this the hard way, and I visualized and I'm like, okay, this is not working, I gave up. And then it came like that, very fast. I was like, why was this thing eluding me all this time? The thing was because I was not dropping it. So I've seen some people have success without dropping it within a conversation. Some people have had success with dropping it. So that's something you will have to experiment with yourself. I think if you have a couple of inner conversations, maybe you do it for a month or so, and then you drop it, then you move on to something similar but not the same conversation. I think that could work. In my personal experience, that should work. But I'm open to experimenting with it, because I'm not very good with inner conversation. I'm very, very good with visualization and revision. Those are my cornerstone techniques. But I would highly recommend you guys to please try it out and let me know how your experience is. Share it in the comment section below. So this way, Gay Hendricks and his life transformed, and his wife's life transformed as well, because they were sharing the household. They started making more money. They were able to afford better housing. They were able to easily pay off their debts and mortgages, and their life just financially transformed. So that is the power of inner conversation. And in many cases, if there's something which is very hard to visualize, maybe you can have an inner conversation with it, right? Let's say you want a very fit body, maybe you want a certain kind of body fat, but you're having hard time visualizing yourself being in that body fat percentage. You can have an inner conversation with a trusted friend or a loved one or someone you know, and telling them, let's say your friend's name is Matt, and you say, hey Matt, you know what, I lost a lot of weight, I feel fit, I feel energetic, and my body, my BMI is under 14 or something like that, right? And he says, wow man, congratulations, that's awesome to know. Under 14, wow, that's so cool. And you're like, yeah, my BMI is under 14, I feel great, I feel energetic, it's awesome, right? This very small inner conversation, and you can do it a couple of times in the morning, a couple of times in the evening. You don't have to do it throughout the day. This is where I kind of divulge with the traditional law of attraction, because I used to do something similar, and I was into Esther Hicks and the traditional law of attraction world, where I would go over and over and over this concept or these things, and I would just get stuck there, right? Will not make any progress. So it was like constantly being in the state, and there were times when I would fall out of it. And if you had to constantly force yourself to be in this state, it became very, very exhausting. So that's why I kind of drifted away from traditional law of attraction. And when I found Neville Goddard and pure manifesting, that's where I found really a lot of success, and a lot of my success just skyrocketed. So that's what I wanted to share. And please give it a shot, give it a try, and see what you get done and what you still struggle with, because I'm pretty sure there'll be different areas. I want you guys to experiment with it. I'm also experimenting with it, and I will share the results with you very, very soon. Maybe in a couple of months I will have more results to share about inner conversation. So that's all I want to share. I hope you found this content very useful. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any more content like that. And if you have any success or any failures within a conversation, please post them in the comment section below. I would love to know. I would love to have a bigger sample size so I can really experiment with it and give you tried and tested results once they're done. I'm doing the testing. I'm on day 5, and I always do multiple tests. It's on my Excel sheet. I can see it right here. And once I'm done with those tests, I will share my lessons and my learnings with you guys. So until then, take care, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.